Alright, so guys, welcome back to the channel update. I know we don't do these quite as often, for a good thing, and honestly, as you know me, that I don't really post too much on my channel as often, quite as often as on YouTube. As you remember, there's the whole life thing, you gotta manage things out better, and this year was both a blessing and a curse. For both of those reasons are both very good and logical on my parents' side of thing, which I'm not gonna blame them for. Which I am going to talk to them like, I understand. This is why I'm going to one convention this year, and we'll be putting a lot more money into my savings account. Because, good lord, do they need that? Very much need that. And then we'll get to some stuff that I've been doing offside the channel and where that's focus been at lately. To both the good and the bad. So let's talk about it. Number one, life has been crazy. My life has been a little bit, not too crazy. It's a lot of more time at my job. There's a lot more things that they like really need you for this, and my hours have definitely gone up. But due to how often I'm at my job now, and to how much employees we have, it's that unfortunate thing of, well, I can't really complain too much about this because unfortunately there's just outside forces that are like, well, I can't do this to. Well, have just been losing their jobs, unfortunately, and that is the sad thing. Really, some of these employers are really good, but they've either have been calling in too much often, to lying about the situation that is at hand, and things just not been doing so great for me lately. But on the plus side, I will be making a bit more money now, so that's a good thing. So that is earn money into the bank, more to save up, and also I can really truly do a lot of things now that I want to now. So that's a good thing. More money in the bank, an increase of pay, and my parents are gonna be happy. The other thing is why I keep saying it's both been a blessing and a curse lately, is that a blessing, I've been on a lot of vacation lately. Finally, I think my work is happy about that. They're like, finally, using up some vacation time, definitely earned it, definitely deserve a lot of those things, and he's allowed to have fun. But at that same time, the curse has been how much money I've been spending on vacation. In Vegas, I didn't spend too much, thankfully. Thankfully, Vegas wasn't a whole bunch of buy this, buy that. That was a very much good thing that everyone was happy about, and there was been a lot of photos at Vegas, so that was great. The downside to that was, unfortunately, after Vegas, it got completely worse, and I will admit that that's my own fault. I didn't pretty much say it correctly. I thought I did, but there was also me just managing of, okay, how much am I buying? How much do I have to take out of this account or that account? But I was allowed to have fun, and that is my fault for not planning correctly. A lesson learned for the next con, which I'm going to, but thankfully I will have enough of that. That is a good thing. What I mean by that, I spend too much money on my convention, which everyone's gonna do because even when you go on vacation, you're at least gonna spend yourself, if not more than around $1,000, at least around 1,000, or at least you're still going to buy stuff for gas, food. You want to buy some merch, maybe not too much. You got to be careful about that stuff and what you are buying for merchandise. But at the same time, do you want it or not want it? That is up to you. And there's some cool things I did buy. Got some myself some cool DVDs. Just a notepad, a a some stuff that I would just want to buy because it was pretty cool. Other stuff was kind of like trying to quickly to see if we can preserve that stuff to just supporting some awesome artists, so it's a cool thing. And I think in total, yeah, that is at least a bit more than I wanted to. But hey, you do have the credit card, get some credit on some things, so it goes smoothly. Met some awesome, talented voice actors, too. Met some awesome people that, just with a brief conversation, they were pretty cool to have. Someone had a bright idea because I was in Yuffie's Moogle Hood and Cape from the integrated Final Fantasy VII remake. Someone's like, "You know what would be so funny and great actually if you had a sign that said Yuffie used item shop." I'm like, "What? That actually would be pretty sweet to do. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie about that." There definitely were people out there saying like, "You know what? You should go to this artist in Artist Alley that has a bunch of Moogle stuff." Finally met her. She was a little mad, but I'm like, "I'm sorry. I was so busy, but now I'm here. That's fine. But hopefully I get to meet her soon again." So there was that stuff. But not to mention add in like how much money am I spending on food, all this stuff. Yeah, that's not gonna be too happy, and that's why one thing my parents aren't quite too happy about. They're still not gonna be happy with another one that's coming up, but it's like at least I'm with a friend, I'm a buddy, but also at the same time, they're really only gonna get us for the room. What at least what the hotel is gonna get, they're gonna get us for the room for the convention. That is about it. So I'm like, okay, not complain too much about that, but at the same time, it comes down to gotta manage this. We're getting really close to the deadline. First night's been paid for. It's really when we get there, paying for the remainder of the nights and be like, well, that's it. Let's have fun. Let's explore. Go swimming because we're in the Dells of my wonderful state of the Wisconsin Dells in the Dells. So that's gonna be fun to do. And let's have a good time. We're here to have a good time. So there is that to worry about as well. Also, some food price. I'm going with a buddy this time around, and luckily things are going to be okay this time around. But that's also going to be like, well, I know I'm not going to spend too much on merchandise, but luckily, again, even with that pay increase, it's going to be down to watch it. Do you really need it? Not need it, and that's the thing about that one, to say the least. So luckily this time around, I know better. I know which one I want to spend on and what I essentially don't need. So there's that. Which hence why, and even to that, my parents haven't quite been happy about how much money I'm spending on my mangas and books lately. That's fine, but it's like, I want to read this stuff. It gets something to me to do at my job while I'm on my breaks versus then me just going always on Netflix, which was a good thing. But the downside to that is because my phone is kind of a little messed up. It broke a couple months back ago after the convention, the first convention that I went to during the middle of the year. So it's like, oh crap. So I was out of stuff to do. So I'm like, let me just bring some of my books in, and I did. Helped out a lot. So pass the time, but then I wanted more. Thankfully, I completed Chainsaw Man Part One by the time I did come back. So that was a whole lot of fun to read lately. To read during that time. And honestly, some of my friends at my job are just like, "Oh, what book did you bring in this time around?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's this book or it's that book." And pretty much a great experience, honestly, to have that, and also for us just to chill and relax for a bit. Talk about that. So do I want my phone to be fixed? I think I'm just gonna save up until at least end of the year to be like, all right, that's my big Christmas gift that I want. So thankfully, I have a plan for that now. The phone is still workable. I just have a dead pixel to a stubborn white line that it just didn't go away. So like that is my fault for not. At least I don't know what his fault for the dead pixel was because it was fine at work when we were trying to clean some stuff that I was like, here, let me use the flashlight on my phone to figure out where it is. But when I went on break, I'm like, whoa, what the hell is that? How did that get there? So one of life's mysteries. But like, hey, at least my phone is paid off now, so I can get myself an upgraded phone. Plus, I don't want to spend the money to like, can you just fix it again? Because fixing a phone with that is that size, with that screen, with that all that junk on it, it's like, yeah, that's gonna be hard to fix. So there's that. I understand where my parents are coming from when they say that, well, he's spending too much money on this and that. That's like, at least I'm reading something that isn't always just gaming all the time. At least I'm reading something that is a series that I can hop in, do whatever I want to go. But even I knew that I believe stuff that was in demand just got a bit too high. Like Sekiri got a bit too high, and people were trying to buy the mangas as fast as they could by Yen Press. So in this case, for the Sekiri manga, they did it like in a way like kind of Berserk's been doing. Instead of three volumes for one big book, you get two volumes in one big book. So that's not too bad. But some of those prices got really high up, and you were just like, whoa, $60 for a manga, $80 for a manga. On eBay, they were going stuff like for a collection that was really high priced because people were trying to get them at that time, like $600 for like at least volumes one through I think it was like through all the volumes. So it's like holy shit, one volume alone cost between like this is someone who was asking for the price. It's like $1,000. I'm like you are not getting that for somebody, and that's just ridiculous. There's also been stuff from my Kickstarters that were coming in, so that was a good thing. But at that same time, I also knew that, well, this wasn't gonna happen quite yet. Not at this time, not at that money, not at that price range quite yet. So it was still like, man, things are. I would love to have that, but it's like I know it's gonna be like, well, I'm just gonna have to wait for it till it is on sale to like let me just see how much I'm spending to do I want everything at once? Or do I help out in a good way, spread the good word that a lot of these artists now that on my Twitter account do follow me. And a lot of them are really nice people. People are like, well, Comicsgate, this and that, but like when you just take a moment and like appreciate what the work they're doing or you're following them on their updates on like this is what we're doing, this is what's going to be great. I think you're missing out on some really fantastic people, honestly. These people are so cool and awesome that all they want is to work in the industry that they love and what they remembered with the comic books that they are creating. And I think that's fantastic. I think that's awesome. The downside to that is that can it get expensive? Yes. Can you do something that are you a big risk taker? Yes. It is also what we call the high risk, high reward consequences. These projects are being Kickstarter back or Indiegogo back. So you are going to have to be very careful on like, hey, how much money are you willing to spend on this tier to get this item, to get this word? Is it fully backed up quite yet, or is it just started off? That is a lot of things that we do tell people about that. Just is to be careful because you just never quite know what could fail or not. If it fails, then well, you're going to get your money's worth. But if it is successful, congratulations, their money is going to go to great works and all, and people can't wait to get that. Also, you're also playing yourself the nice waiting game, and the waiting game can be worth it. Jack the Ripper, the Vampire Hunter, one of the first comics that I did back up, was a wonderful read, and I can't wait for you guys to read that. I think I should get on my friend and be like, "Hey, I finished it now. Let's go read it and do the quick review about that." Another stuff that I did read was a passion project by someone who wanted to do it for years, but he kept being told by people it could work, but I think it's a little bit too detailed for us, or it's not going to quite work out that way. Now that it has come out, I'm like, I'm really happy that I got to make someone's dream come through. And there's also stuff that we do say is be on the lookout because I never know what's going to be out there. One of them that I didn't think that was going to be out there, but it was for Vampire Hunter D, Message of Mars, based on the short story of Message of Mars that I did back up for the American manga. And honestly, I do have it on digital. I'm still waiting for my physical copy because I like to hold my copies as well. And that thing is just wonderful, awesome, wonderful. That is pretty cool. But then again, you start to look at that and you start to realize that why your parents may or may not be happy with me. It is a lot of money, but luckily, I was coming into the Kickstarter was going to end. I might as well back it up right now. So I think that was cool and all, which is great and all. But they're also looking at things that we're looking at the money. You're not saving a lot, or you're taking too much out of this funding in order to do the stuff that you want to do. That's okay to have a hobby, but it's also to remember that well, if you're going to be spending money in the hobby, you better still save up. And I think that is something that they are trying to tell me, which next year I'm going to be very much careful about that. Hence why I'm only going to one con instead of doing two. Going to two is fine, but that still is, as they always say, that is still a lot of money to be going to two cons. That's why next year. That's why I'm only going to one next year and only one, and then I'm like still saving up for about a year and a half so you can go to the one later down one. It is fun, but it also can be very much exhausting to do. Now the other thing that I Now, the other thing that I do want to update you guys on what I have been working on is that well, I've been working with the Killer Critic for his project. That's like, oh yeah, that thing that we saw on that on his channel. I'll leave you a link below for that video, for that update on what we are working on. Is for his Kingdom Hearts series project. It's definitely been a challenge. It's been fun, but I'm gonna tell you, there's some stuff that in that video that hasn't quite been shared, which I'm allowed to share just for a little bit. Number one, there's been a lot of it going back and forth. He's right about things that but the series has been taking its turn, has been molding and shaping correctly into what we want to do. but at that same time, it took a while to get there. And I was the only one with him on that project for a little bit, or he's been going like, "Hey, how's this or how's this doing?" I'm like, "It's looking pretty good." We would talk about it. Well, we got to a point where, at least I got to a point around the year and a half, where it's like, hmm, okay, but we really got to nail down season one. I know you want to do this part for this season, or this part for the later part of the season, but you got to focus on season one and only one. We can't be going back and forth. Some stuff looked okay, but when we start to edit review, when I asked for like when I said, look, I need more help. I can't do this no more. It's becoming a headache for me, and I feel like I'm just being exhausted right now. So, hence why two more people were added to the project for the editing process. But with that also comes a lot of disagreements, both for the positive and for the negative. The positive side of things that, well, now I'm not the only one that has a voice. It's called let me help you out. But also it's called I agree, but I don't agree. There's been stuff of fight, like even something that was so simple, like choosing a what music should be played here for this mode, came down to someone going like, "Why are you being so mean?" I'm like, "You're choosing the wrong music." Yeah, with my word associating correctly, yes, for a musician, you don't want to play something that's too fast for a moment that's meant to be more serious, drama, dramatic. You don't want to play something that, oh yeah, let's play something that's really fast and everything. So you're gonna tell me you're gonna play Anti Aqua's theme from Kingdom Hearts 3, and you want to speed that up. You don't do that because you take away the emotion of that song, the scene that you're going through, the emotions that you're going through. You speed that up, it's gonna be a, well, why'd you speed it up? You take away the moment that made it such a nice dramatic moment that people felt like, or as they described it, man, this music's really bloodborne that way. Like, yeah, I do agree in that way. I liked how the music was composed, how it was done. But now you take away from that moment to just to speed it up. Like, no, it needs to be slower in the way that they were doing it in the game. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is how he kept characterizing the characters, or in quote unquote personality, which I got so sick of hearing so often. It's like, stop. This is Keyblade them. I want to know what they're like outside of the worlds, outside of Disney and the Kingdom Hearts world. What they like back on this world with this character, how they would interact with these people. That's what I want to know. So that's where I've been getting through to it the most part, which is good. But it's like you got to give them time to what we call build up. We need build up. We need moments that people are gonna like, that people will enjoy, to get to these dramatic reveals late in the series. To get to these emotional moments that everyone shall and they will like. And I think that's very important for us, what we want to do. And lastly and thirdly, yeah, it's been like kind of like a one man show to one man doing all the directing, writing, and animation. It's being spread too thin. We do have our editors, we do have things that will look a little bit more better, pace a little better, but also at that same time now, you got to realize until we get that workable screenplay, we're not going to work on the full series quite yet. What we can do, or what he can do, I can work on some of these shorts to make things. Here's an idea what to expect. Here's what my animation skills are right now. But also later, hopefully, I can get a team to get going to that. Because a lot of things, a lot of teams. You need a team to do this. It's very one thing that someone can is very skilled enough to do one thing by themselves, which is incredible, but that's a lot of hard work, dedication to the crafts, and what they are able to do at their ability. So that's where I'm like, you're gonna need yourself a team. You spread yourself way too thin right now, and that's the only thing I can really give about the updates, really, from at least from my point of view, my side of things. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of process. Are we gonna see that series? You will eventually see that series, but not at this time, not at this moment. Is there a release date? I don't want to give a release date because things are not ready quite yet as they should be. A lot of this is going back to season one, to that screenplay, what works, what doesn't work, who's interacting with who, and the story we are telling. It is definitely a long process for the past nearly 3 years now. We're getting close to 3 years, and things have been very tough on us. A lot of hard work, a lot of stress, a lot of arguing with each other, be like, hey, I feel like my feedback is important to, is it not important to everyone's personal lives, having their own thing. Sometimes he's been sick at times, and it's like there's just be a while until we don't get anything. Sometimes someone's got a great idea to go through, but it's like, what do you want for this scenery, for this design choice that you're going for? It's a lot of good process, a lot of ideas, and as I keep saying, we are all influenced by different things, and that's been helping out a lot to shape the series what it's going to hopefully become. But until then, that's the only update I can get you. So yeah, thank you all for enjoying my channel so far for the past 6 years now ish, around that time, and I'll see you guys next time. This has been Silent Joker.